There's so much talk going on right now about cloud gaming when it comes to Google, when it comes to Microsoft, and when it comes to any of the major players within the gaming industry. And everybody's asking the question, is this the future? Is this what we're going towards? Is this the end game, I guess you could say, or the end goal? And if it is, when will we get there? Do we want to go there? Well, I came across an interview that Phil Harrison, he is the VP at Google, and he's very familiar with the gaming industry. He's been around for a long time within the gaming industry. And there's a quote, and he says, Stadia starts an inevitable and one-way shift away from consoles. Now, just giving my thoughts on this, I'm sure most of you already know, I don't agree with that, nor do I like the idea of that. But I have to ask myself, is he right? Is what he's saying here correct? Well, I can really only speak for myself, right? And for me, I don't think so. I don't want to imagine, even if it's like 20 years from now, which is a long time, and a lot will rapidly change between now and 20 years from now. But I still don't like to imagine my older self gaming and streaming being the only option at my disposal. Now, whether or not that's what the majority of people gaming at that time are doing, that's not the point here. The point is I want to always have that option. So for me, I don't like this idea of an inevitable one-way shift away from console. Is it inevitable? Maybe. But the important part of this video, and the thing that I really need to reiterate, and I think a very important part that he's missing here, and that I think a lot of other people who believe in the idea of cloud gaming and cloud game streaming, is that we are the ones who are going to determine that, not these companies. And I don't mind anybody who thinks Stadia sounds awesome and Project X Cloud sounds awesome and the idea of a streaming future sounds awesome. That's fine. I'm not saying that I'm so against it that I don't want it to be an option or something that's available as a way for gamers to access their games. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that I feel the need to push back against these mega companies like Google and like Microsoft pushing so hard for this because they try to frame it in such a way to make it seem like it's really pro-consumer. It's for us. It's for the gamer, it's for the customer, and there's nothing in it for them except, we give them money for their services. But no, there's a lot more behind it. If the future were to just be digital/cloud streaming only, we would have no ownership over anything anymore. And I think that a lot of gamers don't realize the seriousness of that, one day becoming a reality and why that's a bad thing. We already give these companies a lot of power and a lot of control. And if these companies had it their way, remember the language that they speak is the language of money. A lot of what they do is to try to, relate to us and make us feel comfortable and humanize, the corporations. And I do understand there are humans working there, of course. It is humanized to that extent, but we have to understand the language these mega companies speak, any company, and it is the language of money. And they want control. They want control and they want power, so that way the money's going to them. All the money's going to them. Apologize for that Metal Gear Solid item drop sound. That's actually my phone notification. So, for anybody who's wondering. But that's what these mega companies want. That's what Google wants. That's what Microsoft wants. That's what Sony wants. That's what Nintendo wants. That's what they want. They want the cash flow going to them. And they want control. They want control over a market. They want control over the consumer. They want to be able to dictate. Now, I know that sounds like it's going against everything that Microsoft especially and Google and all these companies make it sound, but believe me, the second you let up If you give them the opportunity to have complete control, they will take complete control. That's the point I'm trying to get at here. Okay? So it is very important for us, the gamers, the consumers, whether you're casual or hardcore, it doesn't matter. It's very important for us to send a clear message to Google, to Microsoft, to Sony, to Nintendo, to Amazon, to Verizon, to Apple, to any of these companies. And to let them know that we still care about ownership. We still care, even if it is somewhat of an illusion, we still care enough that, no, the future is not inevitably going to be cloud only. At least I don't want to believe that. And I don't want that future, so I'm not going to support a company or any endeavor within a company that is pushing towards that. And so the big question, we know that Google, that's their future, right? Like, they've made it very clear, and especially with this statement, that they are done. They have no plans in creating gaming hardware other than the controller. But the big question lies within Microsoft, right? Well, does this mean Microsoft is going to stop creating consoles? No, it doesn't. Not yet, anyway. I don't know if any of you guys saw this, but the internal document leaked of Phil Spencer's thoughts on Google revealing their game streaming platform, and the document that he sent out to the Xbox team leaked. And one of the most interesting parts of that document that just really kind of like made me think, was when he said, I believe, that this is validation for them. The fact that Google is now getting involved and Google is really trying to push for this future validates what they're pushing towards. And this is why I know a lot of people don't understand, or they think that I just like to hate on Xbox, and that's not the case, but I cannot support this. I know a lot of people are going to say, but MBG, that's what Sony's going to end up doing. Believe me when I tell you, when I say that we are going to be the ones that determine the success and the failure, this is the early days, okay? Sony knows its market, and it knows its market very well. Now, Sony would love to capture the casuals just as Microsoft and Google are attempting to do here, but Sony also knows that they don't really have it's not even just the resources, but what they're good at isn't necessarily at capturing the casual market. And because of that, it may end up meaning, in the long run, depending how things work out, maybe less revenue for them. Like, let's say if Project X Cloud does take off and Microsoft somehow taps into 1 billion gamers and suddenly their cash flow and their revenue is just skyrocketing, Sony may not be able to necessarily compete with that if, and that's a huge if, this cloud gaming future that Microsoft and Google are going for is a success. But it's going to be us that determines that. The people where we're spending our money, speaking with our wallets. And I honestly believe that Sony is maybe hoping, maybe they need to hope this, right? Because they don't have the infrastructure in place to necessarily compete with Google or Microsoft, which I'm honestly happy about, because if Sony was also going after this as hard as Microsoft and Google are, I would be beside myself thinking, what is happening? Why is this happening? Why is everybody going for this? This needs to stop. I'm glad they don't, and I think that Sony is kind of hoping that gamers kind of rally around the what we care about. And put our money there, right? Like, I know a lot of people say that the huge benefit to being able to stream your games is you don't have to pay for expensive pieces of hardware anymore. Yeah, that is true, but there's something to be said for having that hardware in the first place. I honestly, I don't mind streaming or the idea of game streaming or cloud gaming. I just want it to, like, in my opinion, where cloud gaming should sit is in the back seat. It should complement. Right? It should complement the traditional gaming experience, which is with a PC, with native hardware, a console. It shouldn't be something that these companies have complete, total control over. I want to always have the option at my disposal to go buy discs, to buy hardware. And it just concerns me when I see a massive company like Google walk in here and say, yeah, we don't want any of that. And we're gonna tell you what you want. We're gonna tell you what the future is. And it's really upsetting to see that Microsoft, they have a huge hand in this as well. They are still making consoles. They will still make consoles. And I hope it sells well. And this is where, we are, to finish off this video, the way we're going to determine the future is where we put our money. How many people are going to go out there and buy the PlayStation 5 when it launches? How many people are going to go out there and buy the next Xbox? How many people are out there right now buying the Nintendo Switch? How many people are going to continue over the next 5, 10 years to buy consoles, to buy gaming hardware, to buy PCs? Versus how many people are going to subscribe to cloud gaming subscriptions and continually give money to that? And what's going to end up being more profitable for these companies in the end? We know that hardware, it's not the most profitable thing, but it can be very profitable when you have amazing software that goes alongside it. And that's where Microsoft's been struggling on the software side of things. Sony's been doing a great job. We see the divide there. Google apparently is planning on making their games exclusive to their platform, which is interesting. And we're going to have to see how this all plays out. But to end this video, we're going to be the ones who determines whether or not this is an inevitable future, right? If there's something that I've learned is that the consumer has the power. The gamers have the power, right? Gamers rise up, whatever. But in all seriousness, I care about this medium. I care about the gaming industry, and I care about the art form. And I also care about the way us as the gamers, as the consumers, how we're treated, and how much power these companies want to have over us, and how they want to dictate, the way things are or are not going to be. I think that's for us to decide, not for Google, not for Microsoft, not for Sony, not for Nintendo. And, that's where I've been putting my money recently, is into Sony, because the direction they're going in and headed in and remaining committed to, as far as I see right now, is the direction that I also want to go in. So that's going to do it for the video, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Leave the video a like if you did enjoy it. Feel free to share it out as well. It really helps. Subscribe if you're new. Hit the bell notification icon. But until next time, guys, take care.